All right, today the plan is to do a couple of things. I'm going to um, contact cement glue these onto the base. Obviously, what you would normally do is you'd get a big round piece of felt and you glue it to the whole entire base, but I don't have enough felt for that. And this isn't that kind of felt. This is a compressed felt that I have for a different type of project, and it was what I had. Now, the problem with this is that usually when you use this stuff, it soaks up all the cement. So what a friend of mine taught me to do was you impregnate it first. You put a bunch of the cement on there and then it dries. And now when I go to put this on, it won't soak in as bad. And then the way this stuff works is you let it sit for 15 minutes and then it's ready to put down onto your surface. And once you get it there, you can't move it. So you kind of got to know where you want it to go. And I'm just going to put them underneath so that I can put this down on various surfaces without ruining them. While it waits for a full restoration or whatever we do with it next. The other thing I did was I'm going to start putting the oscillator arm back on, so I've got some of the little pieces here in some WD-40 getting a little degreased and degunked. That big screw right there, that goes into the base right there. And it was really difficult to get out of there. I had to use pliers. There was no screw head that was going to work, so that was a disaster. I'm not sure that it's going to work now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the base up and hit some WD-40 inside there. I don't have a tap, so I can't tap it to clean the threads. I don't have any taps or dies or anything like that. So anyway, that's what I have to do to get the oscillator arm. The other side, that part should be easy. I broke a cotter pin, but I can use a paper clip or something for now. So that's the deal. That's where we're at. That's what we're going to do. All right. Here's that screw post, I guess you'd call it. That's where the oscillator arm rides. And it did thread through. I got it cleaned up enough, as much as I could do without the mechanical means, which is a tap and a die. But it seems to thread it through, and it wasn't, I had to use pliers to get it out. So now it seems to be pretty good. As long as I can manage to not misthread it when I have everything here, the arm and the two washers which go there. So we'll see how we do. And I don't know if I should use that lithium grease or if I should just put Zoom Spout oil on this. I mean, we're not going to be using this machine at length. I just want to get it back together, a little lubricant on it. So I'll probably use that lithium grease stuff. It's like a foamy stuff. I don't really like it that much, but it might work for this application. And then there's a nut and a retaining nut on the other side with a little washer. And so we're going to clean those parts and we're going to see if we can put this thing together. There's the oscillator arm, and the number side, this is mostly for my record, is the bottom because the dirty side is the top. Alright, I just hit the cage arms with some WD-40, clean off the grease and dust. A lot of the paint came off because these were rusting a bit. This one has the most paint on it, but they're not. They're a little bent. I don't know if I'm really going to get into that today. That one's pretty bad. Let's see. So yeah, I think all this goes to the bending of the blades on one side and the bending of the cage on one side, because the other two aren't as bad. The fan just took a fall at some point in its life. Probably not while it was running, because I don't think this fan ran in years. But the cage is pretty whack too, as you can see. So I'll let these air dry, get the rest of that WD-40 off, and then the oscillator arm has to go back on first, because that's going to be difficult. And I don't want to be dealing with these things in the way. So these will be the last things we put on as we reassemble the old Western Electric. So there you go. Alright, we're at the 15-ish minute mark, which is how long you're supposed to let that set. You don't want to let it set for hours. It'll dry up and be useless. But you want it to get to that shiny, tacky stage. Then you're ready to put them on the base. And it doesn't matter where they go. The surface is fairly clean, so they should stick okay for now. And then if this fan were to be restored, then you would go ahead and felt the base. It should go all the way around and tuck underneath if there's room. I'm not 100% sure there's really room. Yeah, there's room there. That's how they did it. So that's what you would do with a regular standard hobby felt. This stuff is a little different. This is the compressed stuff. This is not a restoration. You know, we've rewired this to some extent, and we oiled it up and lubed up the gear case a tiny bit. But this isn't a restoration. You know, when you do a restoration on anything, fully disassembly, all refinishing. Some people are, you know, cleaning up fans, maybe rebuilding fans, but I don't know if that's a restoration unless you really go through all those processes. You know, if this screw I was talking about was bunged up, you'd have to make another one. You know, you'd have to get a parts fan to deal with any parts you have that are a problem in there. You'd have to drill out those bad screws in there and make new ones. You'd have to put new bearings in it. You might have to put a new shaft on this one. If you remember, when we looked at the rotor, the shaft had really bad wear areas. So you might have to press a new shaft into the rotor or find a donor fan that has a better rotor. At that point, you might find out that this is actually the parts fan and your donor fan is in better shape. And those are the kind of things you deal with when you're really restoring things. With this, we're just kind of trying to make it run. So for me, that's the difference between fixing up and restoring, is the amount of work that really goes into it. So I'm going to wipe off some of this WD-40 and put on my little felt feet. Alright, that didn't work, so I'm trying again. Whatever that glue I put on there, let it dry for the 15 minutes, but it didn't stick. It wouldn't even stick to my finger. So I don't know if it soaked in too much. I just put a whole gob on each one. I'm going to let it sit for the 15 minutes. We'll see if it works now. Okay. Alright, blades are on. Cage arms are on. I think I picked the right order. I assume that the bent ones are up top. And I might need to fix those. We're going to find out if the blades spin when the cage is attached. That's what we're going to find out next. I have the oscillator arm attached. I got what's left of the cotter pin in there. And the bolts on the other side. And I didn't do it under power, but I spun it and it seems to oscillate okay. So we'll see how it does under load. Alright. The Western Electric rather is partially assembled. The oscillator is spinning and it's centered, so the fan's not oscillating. We'll shut it down. Is you go ahead and unscrew this so that it goes to about, where are we? There you go. Can you see? You can't see nothing anyhow. Okay, so now I'm going to move it so that the oscillating pivot point moves out through that slot, as you can see. Well, you can kind of see. That's about halfway. And, yeah, a little more labored under load. But it still gets going. And there's like a tough spot where it's pushing the fan the other direction. So, there it goes. Down and low. I like that, not moving too far. That's a pretty nice oscillation there. We'll go to off. Okay, so we're going to go now for low. Let's see if it'll pull itself up to low, even with the oscillator attached. And it does. So that's running. Alright, so now I'm going to move it to full oscillation, which is all the way out. I'm going the wrong direction. So we're going all the way out on the oscillating arm. And I did hit this with a little of that grease stuff on both sides. Where am I? Here and here. So, hi. Ooh, it doesn't, you know, I mean, that's the real load, is the oscillator. Ooh, didn't like that. Yeah, it's going to struggle a little bit, you know, high using gears and bearings and that oscillator. So that's about as far as it'll oscillate. And it makes a bit of a roar as it pushes itself the other direction. Yeah. But it's doing it. Bring it down to low. Yeah, it rumbles a little bit. It doesn't like that secondary off in the other direction. Right there. Ready? Yeah, the one. But it's working. So, you know, the reason I'm showing it to you without the cage on, this fan is about done for this part of the refresh, if you will. But the cage is a disaster. It doesn't hit in all the places, so it needs to be bent around, and it was too close. I had to kind of straighten it out because it was too close to the blades. So at this point, that's going to be our biggest hurdle, is getting the next hurdle will be getting that cage to actually fit on here. So that'll be the deal. You know, I don't want to bend these too much, but it was so far back. Again, it just adds to the evidence that this took a pretty good fall. So I'm going to have to reshape all this and that. You know, I'm not really good at metal work. But that's what we'll be doing. So anyway, that's the Western Electric running anyway. And it is starting up under load, even though it's... yeah, that's not exactly happy. But it'll roll. So that's a start with this guy, you know. Yeah, see, that's under load. You can hear the problems it's got. Okay, so anyway, there's your Western Electric Phase 12 or whatever. So we'll go ahead and keep working on that grill, the cage. Doesn't look that bad. It's not, you know, it's still got some black paint on it. It's just, it's all whack. You can see it's pretty whack. So I really just want to get it together so that it doesn't hit. I'm not really that concerned with its cosmetic condition. So that's what I'll be working on. See if we can get it situated correctly so that it's far enough away from the blades so that it'll turn free and we don't got to worry about it. So that's the plan with the Western Electric. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the conclusion.